Wouldn't it be nice if we could predict the future? Wouldn't it be great if we already knew what was going to happen before we got there? Maybe certain areas of life would be great in that way, but maybe others, not so much. But I bet you're a lot like many of my real estate clients, my friends. You're forward thinking, you're forward planning, you're investigating right now what a move to Arkansas in 2025 might look like for you. Many of my clients retire here because they're looking for an active community to be able to live in the latter years of their life. Maybe your employer is moving you here and you're investigating what the next steps of your life are going to look like. Whatever the reasons might be that you're looking to make a move to Arkansas or in 2025, I thought it might be beneficial because I get many of the same questions. People are looking for the same type of change. I thought it would be helpful to you to be able to give you maybe some predictions, maybe some understanding as to what might take place in Arkansas in 2025 for you. The topics that we're going to cover are weather, cost of living, politics, taxes, and of course, housing. Now, granted, there may be other topics that you're interested to know about, and I'd happily have a conversation with you about that. But today, we're talking about those topics specifically. First things first, I cannot predict the future. No, that's not a crystal ball up on my shelf there, but we can look back into history and we do understand that over time we can start to draw a trend line and maybe make some safe assumptions as to what might happen in the future. Now, my experience, my friends, is here in Northwest Arkansas. Of course, there's a lot of state information that I'm going to share with you on this video today, but I'm here in Northwest Arkansas, primarily Benton and Washington counties. You should know that I am not from Arkansas. I'm from Michigan. I've lived in Ecuador, California, Minnesota, Missouri, and I've lived nearly half of my adult life here in Northwest Arkansas. That's where I'm coming from, right? Not a born and raised Arkansan, but I have assimilated to a lot of the customs, to a lot of the culture here in Arkansas. And I say a lot of it, there's certain things that I still have not done is I have not called the hogs. I will never call the hogs, in case you're wondering what that sounds like. James, go ahead and roll that footage. So yeah, you're gonna hear that around in Arkansas, but I have not assimilated to that. But it's maybe in my nature now to hold open the door for someone else and say hi and smile to a stranger that I've never met, just seeing them as I'm passing them as I'm riding my bike or running at Kohler, for instance. And yes, maybe a few y'alls drop into my vernacular here and there, and it sounds weird coming out of my mouth, but people are understanding what I'm saying when I say y'all. People here in Arkansas are nice to people just for the sake of being nice. There's no ulterior motive. They're just being nice. That's who they are. That's part of the culture here in Arkansas. No matter where you live, you're going to live like you live today, just in a different state. Of course, some things will change. Like myself, if I was living in a different state, I might not be into mountain biking as much as I am, or my family might not be into hiking as much as we are. But maybe, my friend, that's one of the changes that you're looking for in a move to Arkansas. The only constant in life is change, and maybe some of these changes that we're going to talk about are something you're really excited for. Now, one of those changes you might be looking forward to is a change in weather. Many of my clients who are moving from maybe Arizona and New Mexico are tired of that dry heat. They're ready to be outside more so than just the winter months. They want to be outside in the midsummer months and not be baking because they're living literally in a desert. I have clients that move from the upper Midwest like Minnesota or even all the way out to Montana and Iowa, and people are wanting to get out of the 4 to 7 months of winter. I have people leaving the West Coast because of earthquakes, and this may hit a little close to home, but I have had many clients move from the Carolinas and even Florida and Georgia because of hurricanes. They can no longer financially afford it, and much less they don't feel like bracing for it and evacuating for it any longer. Living in fear of hurricanes essentially is why some people are moving to Arkansas, believe it or not. So people are leaving because of their weather and coming to Arkansas weather. So you should know, as you're looking forward to that weather change, is understand that Arkansas is in Tornado Alley. We typically see about 39 or 40 tornadoes a year. Here in Northwest Arkansas, we had a big tornado and high wind damage come through this year, causing lots of damage to the downtown areas of both Bentonville and Rogers. We have hailstorms. Usually once or twice a year, you're going to get hail in Arkansas. It's very common because we're on the cusp of maybe a more temperate climate. We don't get as much snow, but we do get a lot of rain. So if it's not rain and it's not snow, we do get a lot of ice mixed in between there as well. And if you are looking for some snow, not like Minnesota or Michigan type snow, but here in Northwest Arkansas, we get about 9 inches of snow each year, again, on average. Down in southern Arkansas, they might not see as much, maybe an inch or 2 or maybe 3 inches on average each year. We have a mild climate here. It's very temperate. We do have all 4 seasons. Of course, the farther north you are in the state, the more you're going to see more 4 seasons. The far south you are in the states, it's going to be a little hotter and stickier in the summer months like June, July, and August. Of course, if you're looking for more statistical information on that, you could go look at Weather Almanacs online to see for yourself what some of the Arkansas history in regards to weather has been in the past. If you're truly considering a move to Northwest Arkansas and trying to figure out should you move here, I put together a relocation guide that goes down in a bit more detail and also directs you to some of my other videos to help you with that decision. My friend, down in the comments is the link to that. You'll fill out your name and address. I'll physically mail that package to your address. Those get sent out on Fridays. Another change you might be interested in seeing is moving to a state that aligns more with your political values. Maybe not which way you vote necessarily, but maybe you're looking for being around those that have some of more of the same values that you have to get away from maybe a politically charged state. Has there ever been a time when you would go out to a restaurant and that was your favorite restaurant? You always went to that restaurant, but over time, maybe the service got bad. Maybe the food, the quality wasn't as good. And you're like, you know what? I don't really want to go to this restaurant anymore. I'm out. And you will find a new restaurant. This time could be just like that. And many of my clients are leaving their former restaurant, they're leaving their former state to try a new state, to try a new way of living. Many people are seeking a political change. They're leaving a blue state and moving to a red state. For the sake of this video, I don't care which way you vote, but I do know that people are leaving blue states and coming to this red state because it aligns more with their family values. It aligns more with their religious beliefs. It aligns more with how they would like to live out their life. Now, I'm not saying you should never go back to that restaurant, but if you're coming over to this restaurant, enjoy the food that's here, my friend. Since 1972, Arkansas has voted 10 of the last 13 election cycles Republican. The 2 that were not and that were Democrat were Jimmy Carter in 1976 and Bill Clinton, who was the governor of Arkansas, who won the presidential election in 92 and re-election in 1996. Other than that, my friend, Arkansas is primarily a red state. Looking at voting records, these are not my statistics, my friend. This information came from ballotpedia.org, so if you want more information, you can certainly look it up there. All right, enough about politics. Let's move on to a different change that you might be looking forward to. Many people move to Arkansas because of Arkansas's adventure. If you know anything about Arkansas, you may know that Arkansas's nickname is the natural state. So much natural beauty here in the state of Arkansas. Outdoor recreation abounds with forests, rivers, lakes, and caves, or being able to do mountain biking, fishing, kayaking, all sorts of outdoor activities. The natural beauty. Arkansas is called the natural state. Check out the Buffalo National River and this image of Steel Creek. Have you seen Hawksbill, Craig? Check this out, my friend. My family and I have been there a couple times. It's a wonderful hike out to Hawksbill. And you may get those butterflies in your stomach when you hike out there and get close to peeking over the edge. Arkansas has 3 national forests, 5 national parks, and 52 state parks. Now, depending on where you're coming from, if you're coming from maybe Tennessee, that might not be a big change for you, but coming from one of the coasts, or maybe the northern or southern border as an example, those might be big changes for you and changes that you're excited to see. For many of the reasons I mentioned at the beginning of this video, like retirement or job relocation, some things you might be looking forward to is, what is the cost of living going to be like? What does housing look like? What does that look like in 2025 and maybe going forward? If you look at many online maps, you may see that Arkansas has some of the lowest cost of living in the entire country. Now, we know as a country that our cost of living over the last few years with inflation has continued to rise. I would guarantee you that Arkansas is going to stay one of the lowest cost of living states in the country, but a rising tide raises all ships. So as inflation rises, Arkansas and all the other states will rise as well. But I do believe that Arkansas still will be one of the most cost-effective states that you can live in the entire country. Now, again, bringing it here local to Northwest Arkansas, specifically Bentonville, where I live, is one of the most expensive cities to live in the entire state of Arkansas. So you have to do some of your research. Go to maybe Forbes.com. They have an online cost of living calculator. You can plug in your city, and then you can plug in which city in Arkansas you're looking to maybe move to. Maybe you're looking to move to Jonesboro, Little Rock. Maybe you're looking here in Northwest Arkansas. You can plug in some of those cities in comparison to your city and how you currently budget with your current income and what maybe your employer would be providing you, or if you're retiring, what retirement dollars you have to live out your future here in Arkansas might look like. Here in Benton County, if your primary residence here in Benton County, we do receive a $500 homestead tax credit on our property taxes each year. Now, it has to be your primary residence. It can't be an investment property and consider that your homestead. It has to be your primary residence in order to receive that tax credit. In other tax credits, if you're over the age of 65, you can apply to have your tax assessment frozen. Okay, that doesn't mean your taxes aren't going to go up, my friend. It means you can have the assessed value frozen. If the county does change the millage at which they are taxing, they're going to tax on that frozen amount. So if the millage goes up again, that can change your taxable value. If you are a 100% disabled veteran, first of all, thank you so much for your service and providing my family and the rest of our country with some of the liberties that some of us take for granted. But here in Arkansas, if you are 100% disabled, you can apply to have no property tax whatsoever on your primary residence. So some pretty cool things when it comes to your property taxes here in Arkansas. In regards to income tax, we are on a graduated schedule. It's my understanding that income tax, they're trying to lower income tax as well as corporate tax over the coming years. What exactly and by how much? That I don't know. In regards to housing, as a local real estate broker, I do know that over the course of time, we have seen interest rates go up and down. Are interest rates going to be any better next year? I don't know. Could be dependent upon what inflation does. Could be dependent upon unemployment. I'm not an economist, and I'm also not a lender, but I do know that interest rates will continue to go up and down. And I also know by looking in past history over the last 15 years, here in Northwest Arkansas, again, I'm going to give you local content as well. I can't speak for the entire state of Arkansas, but I do know that here in Northwest Arkansas, we are continually going high and to the right when it comes to our real estate prices. Over the last 15 years, we've averaged 5% appreciation per year. Again, average, there's been some up years, some flat years, some down years. As of 2009 and going forward, an average of 5% appreciation per year. I would bet to believe that in 2025, there's going to be so much pent-up demand for housing that with lower interest rates than what they were a year before, and with so many people maybe waiting since the pandemic and waiting since their job relocation and what's happening with the election, that in early 2025, I would bet to believe, my friend, that there's going to be heavy competition when it comes to buying a home here in Northwest Arkansas and maybe other parts of the country as well. Something you should know about our market in Arkansas compared to other states is that we are a cyclical market. We do see a slowdown in the fall and winter months, and we see a significant increase in the spring and summer months of not only homes available in the market, but also competition that you would be competing against on all of those homes. So depending on your strategy, maybe the fall time is the best time for you to buy. Low inventory, low competition, versus higher inventory in the spring and summer months and also higher competition. A little bit more on that, we do see a little bit of a dip in the June, July area and then a big pick back up, especially here in Northwest Arkansas right before school starts mid-August in the fall. If this sounds like you, my friend, it would be my pleasure to schedule a call with you to visit in more detail what a move to Arkansas, and maybe even specifically Northwest Arkansas, might look like for you in 2025. It's always a pleasure for me to put this information together for you, my friend, and now you know a little bit more about what life is like in and around Bentonville and Arkansas. Thanks for watching.